Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Miggle, and in today's video, I'm going to be walking you guys exactly what hard inquiry bureau stacking is. Basically, hard inquiry bureau stacking is the process of walking you guys through on how to stack hard inquiries depending on the bureau they're in and which bank, so that you can maximize the total amount of cards you could get approved for the shortest amount of time. So get your notepad if you're ready to take some action. Looking forward to walking you guys through it. So the thing to note here is each bank pulls from a different one of the three bureaus, and hard inquiries, they stay on your file for 24 months. So the real thing to note is banks really only care how many hard inquiries you've received within the last 6 months, and they're definitely weighted less after 12 months. So with hard inquiries, if a bank sees you have so many hard inquiries in such a short period of time, you're going to look to them as high risk because you look like you're very money hungry and you really need it. Banks don't like giving money to people who really need it or who are desperate. So the thing to note is having less than 3 hard inquiries within the last 6 months is good. You don't want to be over those, over 3, and you want to have less than 6 hard inquiries within the last 12 months. Generally speaking, as a general rule of thumb, is 3 hard inquiries for each bureau. So that's 3 on TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, to fill within a 6-month time frame. Obviously, the less you have, the better and more cleaner your file is going to look, and the less risky you look to the banks when you ask for funding, and the higher approval odds you're going to get. I have some resources here that I'm about to share with you guys here in a second that are going to show you suggestions of which banks are going to pull from which bureaus depending on the location you're in. So just as kind of a warning, avoid banks like Discover or Capital One because they're known to be pulling 3 hard inquiries, 1 from each bureau, just to get approved for 1 card. Plus, they don't really have really good business credit cards in the first place. Unless you have a card you really want for them for the rewards, then I really highly suggest not doing business with Discover or Capital One. Sometimes with Chase and Wells Fargo, they'll pull from 2 bureaus. But in my opinion, especially with Chase, they have so many great benefits. They give high credit limits. It's worth the 2 hard inquiries to get the funding. And just kind of as like an example, so by having these resources of knowing which banks are going to pull from which bureaus, let's just say, for example, if you wanted to apply for 3 cards at the same time, it'd be really good to know that they all don't pull from Experian, because if they all pull from Experian, you have a higher odds of not getting approved for it because it looks like you have too many hard inquiries. So if you could stack strategically and you knew, all right, 1's going to pull from Experian, 1 from TransUnion, and 1 from Equifax, you increase your odds of getting an approval. So let's say, just as an example, we know Chase is going to pull from Experian, PNC is going to pull from TransUnion, and Wells Fargo is going to pull from Equifax. That's all going to show up as just 1 inquiry on each bureau, and we won't have any problem getting approved, and we don't have to worry about getting denied due to too many hard inquiries. So by knowing these inquiry database systems, we're drastically going to increase our odds for approvals. A key thing to note with hard inquiries and banks is banks will often pull from different bureaus based on your location. So for example, let's say you're based out in Florida and you're applying for Chase, it might pull TransUnion. I'm from California and I know it's going to pull from Experian and sometimes Experian and Equifax. It all just depends, and by using these resources and seeing the past data points of the approvals and where they pulled from other people, you're going to know exactly which bureau you want to make sure is in good standing before applying. All right, guys, bonus hack time. So some banks will allow you to apply for multiple of their cards in the same day, with it only showing up as one hard inquiry. So for example, Amex, you can apply for 4 to 6 cards in the same day, and it's only going to count as one hard inquiry. I know sometimes Chase will allow you to apply for 2 cards at the same time. And the reason for this is banks, they have to pay every time they pull your credit. And if they've already seen, especially if it's in that 24 hours, they already know what your credit looks like on the first decision. If they've already approved it, they already know, okay, their credit's probably around the same. We'll give them the approval right then and there. All right, what's up, guys? So in this section of the video, I'm going to be walking you guys through some of those resources that will tell you which banks and which locations will pull from which bureaus. This is all part of the hard inquiry bureau stacking video. So I'll have a link to this resource here, but let's just say, for example, I'm based out here in California, so I'm gonna choose California, and let's say, you know, my Equifax and Experian, they have too many hard inquiries or they're not looking in good shape, and I want to make sure I'm going to go through a bank that's only going to pull from TransUnion. You could select which dates, when the dates they were applied to. I'm just going to leave that blank, but you know, something more recent, the better. And then obviously you want to know if it was approved, so update that. It's a really cool community. So this has all the different banks. So let's say I wanted to apply for a Bank of America business credit card. Cool. This person was from California. They pulled from TransUnion. This is telling me odds are that if I apply for a Bank of America as well, I could rely on them pulling from TransUnion as well. You know, I talked about how Apple Goldman Sachs card is a really high personal credit limit card. If we wanted to get that, boom, we know our FICO's, or they're going to pull from TransUnion. And it even says the type of score they had too. So, I mean, if this guy got approved for 695 and you have a 700, you're a shoo-in to get approved. I could go all day about this, but I got a couple other resources I want to walk you through. Like, for example, U.S. Bank, this guy had a 792, got a credit limit of 10,000. He was from California as well, TransUnion, so we know where they're going to be pulling from. So that's how you use this resource. I'll be walking you guys through a couple more. All right, guys, so here is another awesome resource. It's from doctorofcredit.com. I'll include that link as well. But this will also show you what banks pull from the different states and bureaus. So I'll just show you guys quickly how this works. This collects a bunch of data points from people in their community and the information that we send them in to be able to help other people who are looking to get funding as well. So right now we chose American Express. Let's say we're trying to get some funding from them. Again, we're based out of California. Look, we got 41 data points saying from California that they pulled from Experian, only 2 from TransUnion and 1 from Equifax. If I had to take a bet, let's say my TransUnion or Equifax wasn't looking so hot, I would take this bet any day. You know, they will more than likely pull from Experian. Like, I mean, if you look at all of these, basically every state's pulling from Experian with the off chance that they might pull from 2 bureaus. Let's do one more. So like Bank of America, let's see their data points on this. So Bank of America, Experian, some TransUnion, Equifax are from California. Again, most of them are pulling from Experian, so that's cool. I live in Indiana now, so looks like they don't have any information on that. So we'll see. I have anything on Wyoming? No information. But yeah, this just gives you a better idea on your odds of getting approved. I'll show you guys another resource that you guys could be using as well. Another resource that we're going to be using is FICO forums. This will also tell you other banks that you'll see. So, like for example, again, I'm in California, so looking for banks that pull from California, type that in. You could do this with any state that you have. I'm just using the California. So looking for a card that pulls TransUnion only in California. So cool. This is just a forum, a big community of other people. So this guy, he recommends the Apple card. This person, they recommend Synchrony Bank. Cool. But I think you guys get the point. We're going to be using these resources to feel out what banks are pulling from which bureaus. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of this video. So what did we learn? We learned, what is hard inquiry bureau stacking? Why would we want to do it? How do you do it? And what are the resources that we're going to use to better get an idea of which banks and which locations are going to pull from each bureau, so that we could optimize getting the most approvals in the shortest period of time. But hope that was valuable for you guys, and I am looking forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.